Hi, welcome along to another video. We'll take a look at Texas this time, but before we get going, of course, there's a lot going on in Texas. Obviously, if anyone's watching this in the hope of getting some answers, just going to run through the information that's publicly available about Texas and their weather modification operations. This is not meant to suggest there is blame on anyone or there is not blame on anyone. As always, the same thing stands wherever weather modification is taking place. If there is no weather modification operations, if it's illegal to do it for any reason, and a heavy storm comes through, and you know there are no weather modification operations, then you know that weather modification did not create the storm that just killed your people. If there is weather modification operations and they are taking place, you will naturally assume or wonder or question whether another human being has done that to your people. That's logical. So amongst your grief, there's going to be a lot of anger. When you hear of politicians suggesting that this could be possible, don't automatically assume that they don't know what they're talking about or that they're just some crazy politician. Doesn't mean they're crazy, just means everyone else is too spineless to speak about it. We do ask the questions because the weather modification operations exist. The Rainmaker CEO has had to address this because they were cloud seeding before these storms. You'll see as we go through the information that it's not just Rainmaker. There are multiple operations. We'll start with sort of the history, a little bit of history. We'll bring it up to date to 2023. Then we'll take a look at the Texas Weather Modification Associations, programs, operations that take place outside of the remit of the Weather Modification Associations, technologies, businesses that are doing it. So we do a sort of historical up to 2023, deal with some of the nuts and bolts of things. We'll do 2024, a final word on what's happened recently. And just keep in mind, if someone has weather modification operations, they create a bad storm, people die, do you think, in all honesty, based on your experience of humans on planet Earth, that that person's going to stand there, put their hand up and say, yeah, sorry, just killed 100 people. Didn't mean to, but it was science, hey? Saving the planet. There's never been an admittance of anything, even close to admitting guilt, anywhere when these sort of things happen, except in one case, which was Tasmania in 2016. There was kind of a pretty good acknowledgement that things had gone a bit too far. Programs were shut down, that was that. So, the history of things. The highly recommended place to learn about the history of Texan activity is the Texas State Historical Association, which was established in 1897. Everything you could need to know about weather modification in Texas is in an article authored by Donald R. Harrigan, originally published in 1976, but it has been updated since, if I remember rightly. Harrigan states, rainmaking efforts began in Texas in the early 1890s, when Army units recalling that in the Civil War artillery bombardments often had been followed by rain. They experimented by firing explosives into the air in the hope of obtaining rain. Experiments were conducted in Midland at least as early as 1891 by General Robert St. George Dyrenforth, who used explosive balloons and artillery to break the balanced state of nature and make rain clouds develop. This series of experiments, sponsored by Congress and the Department of Agriculture, ended inconclusively after only one season of testing. In late 1892, the rainmaking team moved to Camp Farwell near San Antonio and initiated a new series of experiments. After no rain resulted, Robert McFarland, a physicist of the University of Texas, declared both the experiment and the theory faulty. Between 1910 and 1914, Charles W. Post conducted additional experiments in Gaza and Lynn counties on the High Plains. He detonated dynamite at 4-minute intervals over several hours at a time. After 4 years of experimentation, the results were inconclusive and the trial ceased. This failure was apparently the final blow to the concussion theory of weather modification. Now remember, this is 135 years ago or so. So the concussion theory is correct, but it's only used in hail suppression. So you don't use the concussion theory or explosions or sound booms or anything like that creates a concussion in the atmosphere. You don't use that for rainfall enhancement. For rainfall enhancement, you need to either add particulates to the atmosphere or interfere with the ionic charge, the ionospheric charge, the charge of the ions in the atmosphere. It was probably the particles from artillery shells in the Civil War triggered by giving atmospheric moisture nuclei to collect on, which is then cloud seeding, which is used for rain enhancement. The historical article also states the number of commercial weather modification projects in Texas increased markedly in the 1950s and 60s, prompting the state to adopt a statute controlling cloud seeding operations. The Texas Weather Modification Act of 1967 charged the Texas Water Development Board to license and permit weather modification in the state and to promote research and development in weather modification technology. Later, the act was codified in the Texas Water Code. Presently, the Texas Water Commission oversees weather modification. In 2024, the mainstream media outlets are ridiculing new legislation that has passed in around 7 states. This obviously went further in 2025. That legislation would forbid unlicensed activities. So could you imagine the media doing that in the 1960s? What they're doing now to do with people like Marjorie Greene Taylor, etc., trying to ban weather modification and introduce legislation banning it. How would a 1960s society treat that? They just introduced legislation. They didn't go on media hit pieces, did they? We know from a 1972 paper, military paper by Appleman et al., the Project Cold Rain was an airborne precipitation augmentation project that was operated out of Kelly Air Force Base over southern Texas. So things have been going on in Texas for a long time, and legislation has existed. So therefore, paper trails exist in 2025. In April 2014, Gary Walker from Seeding Operations and Atmospheric Research, also known as SOAR, and cloud seeding pilot John Rainwater spoke about cloud seeding to the Cron news site. In July 2016, the law outlet Farrow, Gillespie and Heath, based in Dallas, published a small article affirming that fooling Mother Nature requires a Texas license. So you have a law firm there in 2016 confirming that you need to be licensed to carry out weather modification operations in Texas. On the 30th of September 2016, the Wilson County news site published details of the agenda for a meeting of the Evergreen Underground Water Conservation District. Item 17 was the South Texas Weather Modification Update by Kendall LaRoche. At the end of 2016, on the 8th of December, the Weather Modification Advisory Committee held a meeting in Austin. The Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation published details that were effective from the 15th of February 2019 covering weather modification. It is Chapter 79 of the Texas Administrative Code. From the UK media, on the 22nd of February 2021, the UK's independent newspaper reported fake snow, conspiracy theory claims, Texas weather, government generated. On the 15th of August 2021, The National reported, that's a Middle Eastern news outlet, reported that a new cloud seeding test in Texas shows promising results. UAE scientists are testing nanomaterials that could prove more effective at generating rain. So what those operations showed were that the titanium-coated nanomaterials were 3 times more effective, which, going by information coming out nowadays, currently, if you like, is being said that the raindrops are 300% larger. So the cloud seeding is 3 times more effective, 300% larger raindrops. You get how that's working. Heavier rain. So if your raindrop was going to be 2 millimeters wide, it's now 6 millimeters wide. Heavier rain. The Scientific American reported on the 7th of February 2023 that rainmaking experiments boom amid worsening droughts. Scientists and companies are scrambling to find new ways to squeeze more rain from the skies as climate change intensifies drought. So in 2023, they're using terms like experiments and new ways. We started this piece in 1890. And by new ways, even if they mean the electric charge method, cloud ionization technology, it's not new either. It was first started in the 60s, developed throughout various countries in various ways. So you more than likely know about Rainmaker. There is also Rainwater Tech. They entered the conversation in April 2023 via Fox News. The company are based in Austin, and it is claimed the company was formed in 2022. They also claim they will solve the drought problem in Texas. They use cloud ionization technology, which is classed under the electric charge method. As I've said, it's been around for a while. The Daily Texan reported on the 20th of July 2023 that Rainwater Tech had been operating in Oman, in the Middle East. The San Antonio Express news site stated on the 19th of August 2023 that there are 7 cloud seeding projects operational, covering 1/6 of Texas. So 15%, 17%. So that was just showing you historically that this has been going on for a long time. It's been around for quite a while. Mentioned there Rainwater Tech. So if we now get into some of the nuts and bolts of things, we'll take a look at kind of what's been going on and what has been going on from a more organisational, institutional, business perspective. Rainwater Tech published a company update press release on the 3rd of February 2025, stating Rain Enhancement Technologies, Holdco Incorporated, an emerging company developing rainfall generation technology, today announced that Randy Seidel has been appointed as Chief Executive Officer of RET Holdco and of its wholly owned subsidiary, Rain Enhancement Technologies Incorporated. Seidel has served as Co-Chief Executive Officer and a member of the Board of Directors since January 2nd, 2025. Press release also says Seidel brings over 3 decades of experience scaling technology companies and driving revenue growth. He previously served as Senior Vice President and General Manager of Hewlett-Packard's Americas Enterprise Group, Senior Vice President at Sun Microsystems, and held executive leadership positions at EMC Corporation. He has founded several successful technology companies, including Sales Community and Revenue Acceleration, focused on accelerating growth for technology companies. Seidel currently serves on multiple corporate boards, including Ondas Holdings Incorporated, and holds a degree from Boston College's Carroll School of Management. As part of this leadership transition, Chris Riley has stepped down from his role as Co-Chief Executive Officer, but will continue to serve on the company's board. They explain their cloud ionization technology as ionization-based cloud seeding, proven in third-party trials to enhance rainfall when conditions are appropriate in the atmosphere, and cloud formation is underway in an approximately 50-mile radius, at a significantly lower cost than traditional methods like desalination and chemical cloud seeding. So now we'll go over to Weather Modification Incorporated, or Weather Modification International, based in Fargo, North Dakota, one of the more well-known weather modification organisations, businesses. They operate internationally. They also operate throughout America. So we'll look at their Texas operations from their historical listings about their operations. So the Texas Weather Modification Program in 1985, 1986 and 1988, which was for rainfall enhancement for San Angelo, Uvalde, Corpus Christi, San Antonio reservoir areas. Aircraft and crew for cloud seeding were provided. The Texas experiment in augmenting rainfall through cloud seeding, TexArc, between 1994 and 1996 and also in 1998 for atmospheric assessment and evaluation, in which aircraft and crew were provided. Texas Central High Plains Rainfall Enhancement Program from 1997 to 2000 for rainfall enhancement, aircraft for cloud seeding and field program management with personnel were provided. The Panhandle Groundwater Conservation District Rainfall Enhancement Programme in the year 2000 for rainfall enhancement, aircraft for cloud seeding and field programme management with personnel were provided. The Edwards Aquifer Authority from 1999 to 2001 for rainfall enhancement, aircraft for cloud seeding and field programme management with personnel were provided. And lastly there, West Central Texas Council of Governments Rainfall Enhancement Programme from 2001 to 2003 for rainfall enhancement, aircraft for cloud seeding and field programme management with personnel were provided. So you can see WMI have been involved a lot in Texas. The Panhandle Groundwater Conservation District. In 2012, the mission statement for the Texas-based PGDC was, the Panhandle Groundwater Conservation District will strive to develop, promote and implement water conservation, augmentation and management strategies to protect water resources for the benefit of the citizens, economy and environment of the district. The 2012 Precipitation Enhancement Programme will begin on April 1st, 2012 and will end approximately September 30th, 2012. So it's running from April to September. Keep that in mind. The programme operates during the prime rainfall months and the current permit for the programme will continue through 2016. The operational area includes all or portions of the 9 counties making up the Panhandle Groundwater Conservation District service area. Those counties include Carson, Gray, Wheeler, Armstrong, Donnelly, Roberts, and portions of Hemp Hill, Potter, and Hutchinson counties. The district employs a meteorologist to run the operations from the office in White Deer and 2 pilots to operate the aircrafts, a 1958 Piper Comanche, which is red and white, and a 1980 Piper Aztec, which are both located at Trade Winds Airport in Amarillo. They possess the necessary permits and licenses from the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations, TDLR, and they also have the liability insurance that is required to operate the program. The program is funded through the district's regular budget. The 2011 cost for the program was $150,000, more or less. In 2017, PGCD announced that the 2017 Precipitation Enhancement Programme will begin on April 1st, 2017 and will end approximately September 30th. So that's a similar timescale, April to September. The programme operates during the prime rainfall months and the current permit for the programme will continue through to 2020. The programme is funded through the district's regular budget. The 2016 cost was $185,000. In 2024, it was stated the 2024 Precipitation Enhancement Programme began on April 1st, 2024. The programme operates during April to September, which is the prime rainfall months for the area. The current permit for the programme was renewed on March 1st, 2024 and will be up for renewal in 2028. The programme is funded through the district's regular budget. The 2023 cost for the programme was $178,000. So they've come down a bit, saved themselves $6,000 somewhere. So the PGCD is operational between April and September every year, and they are licensed to be operational until 2028. So they are operational and it's current. They're not out of season. So there's politician, isn't there, Marjorie Taylor Greene? Does that person start to make a bit more sense now? This person that's being slated in the media as being some whacked out conspiracy theorist, when they're saying to you, there are operations in Texas. You've just seen there are operations in Texas. They're licensed till 2028. We're slap bang in the middle of their operational season period. Now that can create a lot of ontological shock for people to maybe realise that, maybe you're just not being told information. And the reason is because you won't like what you hear, because it's people. It's not an act of God, is it? It's an act of people. So for some people, the law of God applies. For other people, the law of people applies. What's key is that it gets applied and investigated by the legislative people, the law, the police. Everyone involved can hold investigations to see if that really was the cause. They need to know, don't they? Especially like firefighters and medical crews and that, they need to know if there's going to be weather modification going on today, it's likely to cause an extreme weather event. They need to be ready, don't they? You know, be on call, be ready. Mentioned earlier at the beginning, the Texas Weather Modification Association. They're quite well known nowadays as well, a bit like Weather Modification International Incorporated. So TWMA, the 1950s drought and subsequent droughts in the early 1960s prompted so much cloud seeding that the Texas legislature was led to enact the Texas Weather Modification Act in 1967. The act requires any individual or organisation attempting to modify the weather to obtain a weather modification licence and permit from the state's water agency, paper trail. In 1997, the state of Texas made its initial commitment to sponsoring rain enhancement projects by devoting $500,000, $550,000 to cost share with 4 political subdivisions for cloud seeding activities using aircraft. Subsequent legislative sessions increased funding for these and other projects, first through the Texas Natural Resource Conservation Commission and then to the Texas Department of Agriculture. The West Texas Weather Modification Association served as a prototype for the formation of other similar groups sponsoring weather modification operations in other parts of West and South Texas. Several counties south of San Antonio formed the South Texas Weather Modification Association in 1996, and that organisation has been seeding clouds ever since in what is now a 6.6 million acre area from San Antonio to Beeville. Another weather modification sponsor materialised in 1998 when 3 counties along the Rio Grande formed the Texas Border Weather Modification Association. That organisation has been seeding clouds since the summer of 1998 from a base of operation in Del Rio. Another group of counties further south formed the Southwest Texas Rain Enhancement Association in 1999, seeding in a 5-county area using aircraft based in Laredo and Cotulla. The same year, the Edwards Aquifer Authority designed a cloud seeding program for the watershed of the invaluable Edwards Aquifer and hired a contractor from Fargo, North Dakota, Weather Modification Incorporated, to conduct cloud seeding activities over a 6 million acre region of the Texas Hill Country. That program was redesigned in 2002 with 4 of the counties in the original EAA target being seeded for the EAA today by the 2 rain enhancement projects to the south of the Balcones Escarpment, Southwest Texas Rain Enhancement Association and the South Texas Weather Modification Association. I did say we'd do the nuts and bolts, didn't I? 2 rain enhancement projects were established in the spring of 2000 in the northern high plains of Texas. These projects, which covered a combined 8.2 million acres, are sponsored by large water districts, the North Plains Groundwater Conservation District and the Panhandle Groundwater Conservation District. The state's newest program is that of the Trans-Pecos Weather Modification Association, which began seeding for the first time in the spring of 2003 in a 4-county area along and west of the Pecos River. The TWMA procured its own equipment, including 2 aircraft and a radar, and hired its own personnel to run its operation, which covers 5.1 million acres in the region between El Paso and Midland. The state-issued licenses that expired in 2020 were Belding Farms Inc., Fort Stockton, PGCD, White Deer, SOAR, SOAR, the plains, over the plains, South Texas Weather Modification Association, Pleasanton, Trans-Pecos Weather Modification Association, PECOS, and the West Texas Weather Modification Association, San Angelo. Pretty sure they've all been renewed. In regard to the North American Weather Modification Council, on their website, it states under its mission statement that NOAA has issued a fact-check document debunking weather modification claims that have been circulating recently. That's current. There is also a map shown where the target areas are listed as warm season cloud seeding areas. Texas is mentioned there during the warm season cloud seeding season. The Weather Modification Association, according to their website and historical involvement in operations, their involvement is international as well as across America. So they list details about Texas for rain enhancement. The Panhandle Groundwater Conservation District. Its rainfall enhancement program is run by the PGCD. It is operational from the 1st of April to the 1st of October. The target areas of Carson, Gray, Donnelly, Roberts, Wheeler counties, as well as parts of Hutchinson, Armstrong and Potter counties, which they state is 4 million acres, which creates a total target area size of 16,000 square kilometres, which is just over 6,000 square miles. Texas is big, but that's still big. Also for rain enhancement, the Sandyland project, southwest of Lubbock, is operated by SOAR, Seed and Operations and Atmospheric Research. It's operational from May to September. The target area is 6,000 square kilometres, which is about 2,300 square miles. Rain enhancement, the Rolling Plains project in the Abilene region, west of Dallas, is operated by the Rolling Plains Water Improvement Association. Deployment is through the summer period. The target area is 10,000 square kilometres, which is just under 4,000 square miles in size. Rain enhancement, the Trans-Pecos Weather Modification Program, operating just south of the Mescalero Reservation. It's operated by SOAR and runs from May to September. The target area is 18,000 square kilometres, which is around 7,000 square miles in size. Rain enhancement, the West Texas Weather Modification Association operation, southwest of San Angelo. It's active from March to October annually. The target area is 22,000 square kilometres, which is about 8,500 square miles. Rain enhancement, the South Texas Weather Modification Association operation, south of San Antonio, is active all year, annually. The target area is 26,000 square kilometres, which is just over 10,000 square miles in size. Rain enhancement and hail suppression. The Southwest Texas Rain Enhancement Association operation near Crystal City is operational from the 15th of March to 15th of November annually. The target areas of Uvalde, Zavala, Dimmitt, LaSalle and Webb counties combine to 23,500 square kilometres, which is just over 9,000 square miles in size. So that was a lot of the nuts and bolts that's been going on. So we go to last year, 2024. In 2024, the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, the government website, states, weather modification and control means changing, controlling, or attempting to change or control the natural development of atmospheric cloud forms or precipitation forms that occur in the troposphere by artificial methods. The website confirms in its 2022 summary of rain enhancement operations that activities were official from the 1950s. The last Texas Weather Modification Advisory Committee meeting took place in August 2023. The weather modification season runs from April to September only, but you've already seen some run all year, every year. So a little bit of a mix-up there. Texas has the largest international weather modification program that is active in the USA. On the 5th of March 2024, the Texas Standard published an article titled "Austin's Only Snow This Winter Likely Came from Power Plants." Meteorologists say steam and heat from Austin power plants rose into the frigid atmosphere, making snow that covered parts of the city. So they were talking about the winter, which the UK's The Independent said about how there's claims that it was government-generated snow, fake snow. But no, meteorologists are now saying that that winter snow came from the power plants. Now, it could be said the whole article is a disinformation piece and is not worthy of much comment because it does ignore actual factual weather modification projects. Texan meteorologists know the snow isn't from power station steam chimneys. Texan meteorologists are very aware of what's causing what. The NBC5 news site for Dallas-Fort Worth area published an article on the 18th of March 2024 titled "United Arab Emirates is using cloud seeding tech to make it rain." So we touched on this earlier on in this video about the titanium-coated nano cloud seeding particulates. The NBC5 article does start with an inaccurate statement about the UAE's starting date of operations. They say it's the 1990s when we know it's 1982. Many paragraphs later in the article, after a rundown of the UAE's activity, which are accompanied by some cool images, the final paragraph states, in regard to the nano cloud seeding that the UAE developed quite a few years ago now, the nanomaterial is presently undergoing trials and experimentation in various atmospheres, both in the UAE and the US. Now, we've already found out that was being trialled in Texas, so note how that Texas media outlet, the NBC5 for Dallas-Fort Worth area, is saying the US. They're not saying Texas. So they don't mention it is being trialled in Texas, which is a clear statement of something or another. If a Texas-based news outlet avoids saying about the experiments happening in its region, preferring to actualize that it is happening elsewhere by only stating the US, implying not in Texas, then that statement should concern people. And that's from 2024. There are experiments going on. You're told in Texas that it's in the US. You're not told it's Texas. What should you make of that? In the second to last paragraph in the article, it is stated that the new nano version will give 3 times more effective results than the hygroscopic flares, normal silver iodide cloud seeding flares. The same article as the NBC5 article was published across various outlets. Now, we know it was being done in Texas because the Middle Eastern news outlet, The National, said so. When they were giving out the same information, they were quite clear it was in Texas. So a press release on the 29th of April 2024 via the Legal Reader website states researchers from the United States Department of Agriculture, USDA's Agricultural Research Service, received awards during the Federal Laboratory Consortium for Technology Transfer at the 2024 National Meeting on April the 10th, 2024 in Dallas, Texas. The FLC awards honour the nation's top scientists, researchers and professionals working in federal technology transfer, which turns cutting-edge research into impactful products and services. All clear on that, what they're doing. Research engineer Daniel Martin of the ARS Aerial Application Technology Research Unit in College Station, Texas, received the Excellence in Technology Transfer Award. Martin partnered with the Texas Weather Modification Association to develop the Aerial Electrostatic System for Weather Modification, an innovative and safe way of seeding clouds without using chemicals. The system involves fitting aircraft with a specialized spraying system that releases positively charged water droplets to bind with negatively charged water molecules in the clouds. These droplets bind to positively charged water droplets, which increases rainfall. Now, I'm sure when people hear that, if you're watching this from Texas, my heart goes out to you. It's often said because you vote for the people and legislation covers it, that's your consent given. You consent to that. As long as the legislators and your politicians say, yep, you can do that, then you've given your consent because you voted for them people. If that's the case, you might seriously need to consider how you vote or don't vote. Non-participation is always a good one. Try that tactic, see how you get on. Apply your democratic right not to vote. What happens? Deal with that, politicians. Well, not politicians, because you haven't been voted in. Back to 2024. The San Angelo News site announced on the 25th of November 2024 that a bill recently introduced in the Texas legislature aims to prohibit weather modification activities, reviving debate over the use of techniques like cloud seeding. Weather modification has been regulated in Texas since the 1960s, but critics argue the practice lacks transparency and sufficient oversight. The proposed legislation defines weather modification as the use of chemicals or apparatus to alter temperature, weather patterns, or sunlight. Violating the proposed law would constitute a Class A misdemeanor. Current regulations require a permit, which costs $100 through the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. The agency oversees cloud seeding and other activities designed to influence rainfall or suppress hail. Do you see now why Texas is so popular for this? Because it only costs you $100 to get a license to do it. 2024 kind of finished up on the 29th of December. The Houston Chronicle published an article titled, "No, humans can't control hurricanes, but here's how Texas has tried cloud seeding to make rain." So they're trying it. Right? The article, for some reason, does not mention a start date for when Texas tried cloud seeding to make rain. We know it was around 1891, a military-based trial. The earliest date mentioned in the article is 2004, and the focus from a time period perspective in the article is from 2004 to 2024. There is no reference to the regular activities in the 20th century. It literally wants to teach you and tell you that this is something from 2004. That's the Houston Chronicle. So here we are in 2025, in July. There are going to be a lot of people grieving, a lot of people are angry, a lot of people need help. Doesn't matter where it is in the world is feeling the pain, isn't it? If you were looking for answers in this video of is it possible, have they or haven't they, you've probably just seen enough information where you should be 50-50 on your act of God, act of man decision. If you support your legislators in Texas and ban it outright, so it's forbidden, you cannot do this in Texas through any method, any technology, just stop it. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, as far as I'm concerned, this is a man-made event. This is not a natural weather storm. The experts can say, it is all they want, but I'd like these experts then go and watch this video again, come into the comments and explain why there's no such thing. Everyone's a conspiracy theorist, and if all this weather modification doesn't work, doesn't affect anything, why are you doing it? If it doesn't affect anything, why are you doing it? Come and answer that. Wherever you are watching this, keep your head held high, look after yourselves, take care, see you next time.